Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. This is going to be a fun one because who knows what's going to happen here. We're talking about PlayStation exclusives. It's very rare that we get a video game one, but with COVID and everything, it just happened to fall in this way because there wasn't any movies to do something with this one. But I've got a great panel here. To this side of me is Chris Dares. Chris, how's it going?
Very good, very excited to talk about PlayStation. I have a PlayStation 3 in the background and a PlayStation 4 as well, so I'm very used to PlayStation.
Yep, and also I've also got Richard. Richard, how's it going?
Well, it's going good. Excited to be here. I'm surprised I'm here when Ryan's not. So I'm like, where did Ryan go? But no, I'm good. Happy to get here. I've been a PlayStation fan since the PS1 came out. I mean, I love all the systems, but PlayStations in general has had some very good games specifically for PlayStation. I'm excited to talk about them and hear some other choices.
And yeah, I mean, I've forgotten to do this quite a few times, but I'm going to try and remember and bring it back. But what I'm going to do is from the poll from the topic from last week, I'm going to just reveal what you guys voted on the poll as your top 5. Last week we had superhero TV themes, and on the poll, this is what the top 5 ended up. We had number 1 was X-Men the animated series theme. Number 2 was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Number 3 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the 80s theme. 4 was Smallville, and 5 was Captain Planet and the Planeteers. So it's a complete, really different from what we actually had in the official top 12. But with that being said, Chris,
First of all, oh, sorry, go.
No, say what you have to say.
I was going to say, how dare you not include Spider-Man the 90s? That's like one of the best.
And Batman the Animated Series, but
the show itself is amazing. The theme song is very generic. I can understand why for the theme song you did not get it.
As I said last week, the theme song is basically the movie theme, but we're not here to talk about Batman the Animated Series unless it's got a PlayStation exclusive. But Chris, what is the first nomination that you have for the list?
So I'm going to put something music for my number 1 pick. So this came out in 2018. I had 2 games for 2018 on my list, but that's the one that really found me. Yeah, someone from the series that I love, but wasn't emotionally invested. And the 2018 version of God of War with Kratos, now Norse mythology, he carried his son, have a difficult relationship, but they had to be the mother actor to now since they give it, a lot of the Norse mythology. Epic opening, a lot of great Christensen. Someone worked well anyway. Graphically, and what to keep it. I'm surprised, but it's a great introduction to God of War, and when it hit emotionally, especially to Kratos and products on relationship, it's one of the best PlayStation exclusives ever made the past couple of years. It's going to be God of War 2018, not the original, the newest one.
But yeah, God of War 2018 is on the table. Richard, what do you say about it?
Okay, are you talking about God of War 3 or the first God of War remastered?
No, the new one.
The Norse God one, the 2018 one.
So God of War 3, right?
No, it's confusing. It's confusing. It's also just called God of War. But it's same with the beard and doing the Norse mythology thing.
So it's not Kratos, it's someone else?
It's still Kratos.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I always, when I think of the God of War, I think of all 3 of the games combined because they're both all 3 of them are really good. So, I mean, as long as we can get one game God of War in there, I'm fine with that. So, yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I think if this one was numbered, it would be God of War 4 technically. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
I think all 3 are all of them are really good. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm with you. This is what my favorite one in there, and it is it's deserving of this.
I think the only one that made Kratos very human, that you feel sympathy with him a lot in the game, as a father dealing with mom death and dealing with his son, boy. That's what people are talking now with the characters, the boy.
But yeah, but if that this makes the list. this is definitely going to have a sequel, which I believe is called God of War Ragnarok,
I can't wait.
which is going to be really interesting. But with that being said, it makes a list, and it's the first one on here. Richard, what is the first game you're going to bring up?
My first nomination is my favorite Final Fantasy of all time. It is so good. It got a remastered version. It is 3 discs. It's the original Final Fantasy VII, for the PS1. This game, to me, is the best Final Fantasy. It was 3 discs. It has some of the best stories in a Final Fantasy. It has easily Sephiroth as the top 10 villain in any video game. Also has one of the saddest, probably either the top, guaranteed, probably top 5 saddest deaths. There's so much to do in this game. The summons are fantastic. You can do chocobo racing, you can play arcade, you can take hours just play shooting basketball. The story is just so compelling. And just like the summons are great, the characters are great. Cloud is a fantastic protagonist. I mean, I can go on without this game, but Final Fantasy VII is my nomination.
But Final Fantasy VII is on the table. Chris, what do you say about it?
So I have it on my list, but I have the remake on top one on my list more than the original because I haven't played all the original. I just have recently played the remake. Technically part 1 of 7, but every day I put it on, I would say yes, even though I like the remake more just from, and now playing the original, just started playing the original for the first time, since it's now a PS4 game in a row.
I mean, I grew up with the original. I can understand you grew up with the remake. I'm also not a fan of the control style of the remake.
I just prefer the development to get the character more in the remake than the original, like, especially for Eric.
I mean, I also own the remake, so.
Like, the team itself to get more dimension to them, like, but I prefer to make it get more sad when it happens. But, I conflicted. I don't think yet, even though I'd like to remake that tiny little bit more.
So was it a yes or no?
Yes, like, I conflicted about JJ yet, despite the remake it a little bit better.
So Final Fantasy VII has made the list. I actually would have said no. I came to when I started playing PlayStation really late, so I completely missed the boat when it came to 7. So eventually I might play the remake at some stage if I can have afforded eventually. But with that being said, yeah. So for my first nomination, I'm bringing up a game which, until very recently, was a PlayStation exclusive. And one of the rules I did make for this list is that when it first came out, it was a PlayStation exclusive, but if they ported it over later, it still counts for this list. And this is Kingdom Hearts. Because Kingdom Hearts is a great where they merged Final Fantasy and Disney together to make one great game. Well, 3 great games by the end of it, but yeah, it's just the story they came up with, the original characters of the story, and they go into all the different worlds, even into storybooks, just to meet characters such as Hercules, Winnie the Pooh, Ariel, and all that. It's just so much fun to play, and it's just so much more fun. And the way they managed to put it together, it was just perfect in the story. I mean, by 3, which became the reason for why they ported it over to Xbox, is for some reason they decided 3 was going to be all over the place. The story did kind of peter out, but that's not going to tarnish 1 because 1 was just a perfect game. Chris, what do you say about the first Kingdom Hearts?
I had Kingdom Hearts 2 on my list. I loved the first one. I love most of them. I love most of these series, though. I have issues here and there, but another thing I'll do with TP that is 95, I think 2 is a little bit better than 1 in terms of the story and where it took the character and the payoff in a lot of ways. Like, especially like Story Reunion, a lot of the Disney characters they like connect a lot to to the plot that I prefer the sequel and had left them on them. And Organization 13, the battle itself was some of the best plot battle in the Kingdom Hearts game. Like, painted natural bone. So I do have to take slightly notice by I have one that higher than the other one on the series.
But Richard, what do you say about the first Kingdom Hearts?
I think Kingdom Hearts 2 had the better theme song, but Kingdom Hearts 1 had the better game story, the better gameplay. I think in the second one, they overplayed the Final Fantasy characters, where I feel like in the first one they used them just right, where you got excited. So I'm saying yes with the first Kingdom Hearts. I think even though the second one had the better theme song, the first one had a better story.
Yep. And I mean, the second one, they completely ruined Atlantica, just making it a annoying button mashing musical story. That was I really hated that. But anyway, Chris, what is the next game you're going to bring up?
I'm going to bring up the only superhero game on my list, and it's one of the only approved situations. I know that Marvel Spider-Man for 2018, my other for 2018. It is one of the best superhero, like my favorite superhero game of all time, besides Batman Arkham, but that doesn't count really. But from story perspective to the emotional gut punch moment with Ant-Man at the end, and then like the way they develop Peter, Mary Jane, Octavia gave me a very sympathetic background for a villain, and like at a twist and turn, phenomenal push credit scene, some really great boss battle, satisfying finale, really. Like, and that was just Spider-Man giving you both Peter Parker and Spider-Man the idea and struggling with life, just like the movie does, but the game does it a little bit better. And the Stanley cameo was so beautiful playing the game. I gotta get Marvel Spider-Man, the only superhero game I have on my list.
Richard, what do you say about Marvel Spider-Man?
Question, I have to ask you this question, Malcolm. Have you played the game?
Yes.
All right, because I honestly cannot say yes because I have not played the game. I heard great things. I mean, if Malcolm doesn't say no, I mean, I would say yes on the loan that I heard it's a great game. And I know people will yell at us if we don't have it. But for now, I will say no just because I have not played it yet. But I heard fantastic things about it.
I mean, and that's the thing, like, especially when it comes to games, it's really hard to say yes about a game you've never played. Which is why I said no to Final Fantasy VII because I've never played. I just like you, I've heard it's a great game.
That's why I asked if you played. Because if you haven't played, I would just say yes on blind faith alone. But yeah. For me, I can't say yes without playing the game.
Yeah, no, Marvel Spider-Man's making the list for sure. It's a great game.
Okay.
Can't wait for my umbrella slated right next month.
But yeah, but it's making the list for sure. And with that, we go to Richard for his next game.
This one might get a no, but it's also a superhero game, but it's an original superhero game. I have Infamous. I thought the game was just uniquely, just like amazing. Like the fact that you can be a true hero or you can become a villain. And the story-wise of this character, like I always go to play the hero anyway. I just think it was such a unique thing. It kind of had the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic hero, where you can go light side or dark side. Same thing with this, and it was just such an enjoyable game. So Infamous, just the first one, I think should be nominated.
But yeah, where's that button? I don't like Infamous. It's one of those games like I've tried playing so many times. Like one of my friends has plays it religiously, but it's one of those games I never got into, and I just found it really boring, and that the story was just kind of there. I mean, it's like I like it. I do like the aspect of the good evil mechanics in that. There's a lot of games have done it, but I really have to say no to it. I fucking hate the game.
Not everyone likes the game. It's cool.
What do you say about Infamous?
We've been talking about the second one. I wouldn't say yet, but can't be talking about the first one. I got to think of because not my favorite of the studio. I do have one on my list that my favorite studio. I kind of mad at the studio they abandoned capacity for this for me, and it's a good game. Like the ending is the best thing about it. The twist ending with who the villain is shocking. It's a shocking moment. I think the second one was much better game, and I prefer the PlayStation one. PlayStation 4 one is much better. But no, sadly, it's not my preference between all of the games.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we go on to me, and well, I'm going to try this. This is one that I'm actually going to cheat a little bit, just because I consider all the other games in this series more as expansions to the game, as opposed to just like straight sequels. But I'm bringing up the Singstar franchise. This is one of my cheats I'm doing for this, because like all the other games that come out, like is basically the same game, just different songs and all that. And I mean, if I really wanted to argue for one, I'll probably argue like when they brought it down on PS4, because actually you can actually download songs into that same game. But that being said, I'm bringing up Singstar. I don't know how this is going to go, because I don't know how you guys feel about karaoke games. Chris, what do you say about Singstar?
I never even heard of this game, so I don't have to say no. Like, when I looked up games for PlayStation, it's not on my list. So,
Richard, what do you say about Singstar?
American Idol and Rock Band are better karaoke games than Singstar, so it's a no for me.
I didn't. I thought that was going to go exactly like that. This is either a case of either you played it, you haven't.
I played it. I just they're like basically the same thing. But I think Rock Band, at least you can play with the rock instruments and you can sing, so it's kind of the same thing.
But with that, Chris, what is the next game you're going to bring up?
I'm going to bring up the obvious one. Like, this is, besides God of War, this is one of the other best PlayStation exclusives the past couple of years. It's a zombie game, but at the same time, father and daughter almost tight relationship. But that's The Last of Us. Probably my favorite out of Naughty Dog game. Like, this is great storytelling, great cinematic, really intense story, very heartbreaking for a couple of minutes. Like, what happened is actual daughter is so heartbreaking, and it almost like the beginning of like part one in the beginning. So the very personal ending that leaves you questioning what the right decision to be made, and then the LA stuff, and everything is like so heartbreaking. Like we talked about the other one, we'll get to it, but this is my favorite. I love it. I love The Last of Us. I hope they make a movie one day, because I think this story definitely should be told in movie form. And it's probably like one of my favorite scripts for any video game in recent year. Like,
so Last of Us, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Last of Us.
Yeah. Richard, what do you say about The Last of Us?
It doesn't need a movie because the PS3, PS4 graphics makes it a movie in itself. It's a fantastic game. It's an easy yes. Like, it's such a sad game too, but in the same sense. But like, it's such a good game.
I mean, I think they've confirmed it is getting a movie. I think.
I think HBO show what I've been hearing. Really.
I mean, yeah, whether it's rumors or not, I don't know. I've heard of it. I mean, I'm kind of with the point that like it's a game that like the story is pretty much set there, and a movie will just feel like it's just the same thing. Then I don't know how it's going to work, but with that, Last of Us made the list. I've only played like a small portion of this game. I gave up on it when I came across a really hard battle, which I couldn't defeat. So, but I might try and go back to it eventually, and then maybe go into part two if I do finish it. But that I would have said no. But Richard, we go back to you.
My nomination is Metal Gear Solid 2. I think it's the best out of the Metal Gear franchise. Snake is such a fascinating character. It's a fun, like, I'm not into first-person shooter games, but Metal Gear was one of the few exceptions I had, and I just think it's a great story, great game. So Metal Gear Solid 2.
Are we talking about Son of Liberty?
I'm trying to think which one it was. No, just whichever the second one was.
Yeah, that's Son of Liberty, yeah. Was it
Yeah.
also a boss game?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2 was
Yeah.
was called Sons of Liberty.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I don't have to say no because we actually don't include Metal Gear Solid. Now I immediately find my list because that's not my pick for the day. Like, I like Metal Gear Solid 2, but I think the whole way to think completely destroy half the game. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2 is definitely just PS2, so it doesn't count for this. But with that, I've never played the game, so I can't say yes either.
We're going to mention when you get to meet the better Metal Gear Solid game, so wait.
But with that, we go back to me, and I'm going to bring up one that is one that I've loved playing. It's a nice, simple platform game, and it is Little Big Planet. This is one of those ones that I find it's just really entertaining just to go along doing. Because I mean, for me, like one thing you'll learn about me throughout this, when it comes to games, like I'm very rarely I very rarely go for first person shooters. So I like a lot of platform games. So this is one that it's just fun to play, and like the costumes you can create and unlock along the way is just fun. But having Stephen Fry as the narrator, as well as like it's a perfect way to cap it off. But Chris, what do you say about Little Big Planet?
I sadly have to say no because I have never played any of these games, and I've been put up by the commercial every time I watch it. I sadly have to say no. Please don't kill me, audience.
Also have never played it.
I mean, that's fine. It's probably going to be a theme throughout this. You guys probably play games I've not played, so it's going to be very interesting.
This is where the age difference gonna matter. Like, I think my next nominations are not gonna get fast because you guys probably weren't like old enough to play it.
I mean, I'm 35, so I've got a good gap of being. Yeah, so
Okay.
But Chris, what is your next nomination?
So Richard bring up Metal Gear Solid. I'm going to bring up the better one, the one that I gone back and we played thousands of times on my PSP. Then it became a collection. I'm going to Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. It went out down. One of the best storylines in any Metal Gear Solid game. One of the best twists and heartbreaking ending with the boss and reveal about her decision to sacrifice herself for her country despite the government owner that's right at the end. And then the boss battle for the end to the fear to like everything it's so intense. But you had the beautiful storyline of like of war going on. And the big boss dealing with having to go with his own boss and their relationship. The fact that he had to take her out because the United States had treated us like she's working for undercover. There's so much complexity, and the ending with this line in one more emotional moment I've loved this question for Metal Gear Solid practically any play. I got the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, the best out of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Like fresh playback game, playback boss battle, like great ending, like most get better and better upon repeat playing every time you play it.
Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is on the table. Richard, what do you say?
You see, I disagree. I thought the graphics were fantastic in Metal Gear Solid 3, but the story was just eh. However, I need a Metal Gear Solid game to be in this list, so even though I disagree with it being better than Metal Gear Solid 2, I will say yes. I disagree with it, but I will say yes, because I want at least one of the Metal Gears to represent this list.
I mean, I've never played any Metal Gear Solid game, so it's going to make the list.
I'm afraid because that registered with the whole
yeah.
Apple Watch. Adventure help me
But
there.
with that, but with that, Richard, what is your next?
All right,
nomination?
Malcolm, I'm counting on you. This is probably one of my favorite guilty pleasure games when I was a kid. It kind of like started like I think Dance Dance Revolution came out first, but this was one of the first ones that really got people into it. I'm going with Parappa the Rapper. This game was so much fun when I played it. Like it is, and it's like the story's fun. It was just great songs. It's entertaining. It's not a long game, but it's just you can play it over and over again, easy to hard levels. And it was so good they made a second one. I'm just hoping Malcolm would be kind, say yes to this Parappa the Rapper. Come on.
But yes, Parappa the Rapper is on the table. I've played it. It's fine. I'm going to say no.
Oh.
I didn't. Chris, what?
I never even heard of it, and it kind of threw me off.
See, that's why I was counting on Malcolm. It's such a great game. People wanted a third one. You're going to have some disappointed fans. I guarantee it.
I mean, there's a few of those early games which, at least one, I think people get. I know one person's going to be disappointed if he never comes up because he mentioned to us on the when we were talking about this on the opening night. So, but yeah, but there we go to me. I'm just sort of vamping just so I can figure out which one of this franchise I'm going to bring up. Yeah, I'm going to bring up Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. This is one of those ones like this is getting a movie, and I don't think it needs to have a movie because this is another one like Last of Us. The story is pretty straightforward and on there enough that there's not much new they can do with it. But I love the Uncharted games, and I think Uncharted 2 is the best one in the franchise. Because ever since they brought the remastered versions out, when they did 4, is one of those ones that I think is very fun and all that, and to replay. But with that, Chris, you groaned. What do you say about Uncharted 2 Among Thieves?
You killed me because I had both that and Uncharted 4 on my list. Like, it's tough because I think 2 they brought down a little bit because the villain is not that great compared to a lot of the other villains. I think they had a better villain. I think 4 had a much better villain. Like, I'm gonna have. I don't leave it up to Richard because I'm not willing rather than have 4 on this.
I will tell you right now, Chris, I have not played any of the Uncharted games. I was more of a Tomb Raider person.
Ooh.
So it's on you.
You're killing me. Malcolm, you're killing me because you're like picking my favorite children right now. Like, which one do I enjoy more? Enjoy the treat.
There's no rule where you can't have multiple of the same game.
Yeah.
Like the same...
Exactly.
I don't think yet because of like the train mission because I thought we played the second one recently. It's one of the best level mission in the game. Like, and I do love the emotion. I don't think anything we chose to have multiple. So yes, for Uncharted 2.
Chris, we go to you for your next nomination.
Okay, I'm going to go into my trailers here. I'm going to go into my favorite franchise. This is one of my favorite China games going on. I mentioned the studio earlier, and this is where I really angry with the game. I'm going to Fly Cooper 2, Fantasy. Let's see, the China Fly Cooper game is fun, great villain. Like, the twist with what happens badly is heartbreaking, and the animation of jokes are really funny and fast. And Disney played Batman and the hippo name I always forget. Longest Fly. really into it, and yeah, so many good villains go up again, and it takes us like a bit in a great direction in terms of seriousness. Like, the action does have consequences when you get to the end game. And there's a lot of great tricks into it, and it's like a game should be on here, should be number 2 all of them. Like, Fantasy, that one.
So Sly Cooper Bit 2 Band of Thieves
Yeah.
is on the table. Richard, what do you say about Sly Cooper 2?
I gotta say no. I wasn't a huge Sly Cooper fan. I just wasn't a fan of, like, there was just too many that were like it on the PlayStation, and Sly Cooper was my least favorite.
Yeah, you know, I'm the same. Like, Sly Cooper is just a poor imitation of another one that may or may not come up at some stage. I really don't like the Sly Cooper games. I mean, also don't like the one that I'm not going to mention because I don't want to steal thunder from anyone when they bring this one up. But yeah, I just don't like this game. Richard, what is your next nomination?
My next nomination is going to be a wrestling game. It is WWE Here Comes the Pain. I think out of the SmackDown games, like SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, I think it was out of the ones for the PlayStation versions, not the 2K ones, the one prior. This was probably the best one. They had a lot of great matches. You had a lot of great wrestlers. The creative wrestlers, you know, creating a wrestler is always so much fun. You can play this game over and over again. It never gets tiring. You play with friends. And, you know, it had a lot of great matches. So I'm going with WWE Here Comes the Pain. SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Or WWF. I don't know if it was WWF yet. I think it was WWE.
I regardless, I think the game was just called SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, but yeah, I mean, I wasn't interested around here, and they've never done a remaster of this. I've heard this is probably one of the best of the original ones, but I really have to say no. Chris, what do you say about SmackDown Here Comes the Pain?
No, I'm not a big sports video game player fan, so I had no comment on any other sports video games, so no for me.
You guys could just throw me a bone. I've thrown you guys a bone a couple times.
I mean, it's one of those ones like even from what I've watched on YouTube and stuff from Here Comes the Pain, I probably still would have said no because I don't like the look of it regardless. But anyway, we come on to me, and I'm going to go for one that came out for the PS4. It's called Until Dawn. This is one of those fun one in which it is basically a movie in which you get to control the narrative at times. Like, I know how people feel about when it comes to quick time event games and stuff like that, but this whole game is literally a sort of quick time event. Sometimes it gives you more time to do it, but it's just one of those games I enjoy. And like, there's not a lot of thinking. You get to watch the story play out. Then every now and then it'll go, "Oh, do you want this to happen?" And then it'll happen, and then there's definitely a way you can play the game and actually have everyone survive by the end of it. But when it comes to this kind of story, the branching storylines are ones that I really do enjoy, and a lot of replayability because you're trying to figure out, like, well, I'm going to play it again and might do this option as opposed to the one I did before, see what happens. But Chris, what do you say about Until Dawn?
Okay, I do like this game a lot. I kind of been put off because I did love the book recent one that came out with the Ghost of Midian one. I'm gonna have to say no because we have a few slot rights and a few games where to get on that deserve more love than Until Dawn. I think there's a Red Hard game. They actually had to Metagame politics to actually slid it into here, but I think they know just because they want better hard series, I think should get mentioned here. Like, to roll a Metagame politics in hard.
But Richard, what do you say about Until Dawn?
I have never played it. So, fortunately, I gotta say no. I just haven't played it.
That's fine. Chris, it's not back to you.
So wasn't on my list, but after the Metal Gear Solid and then Final Fantasy Kingdom Hearts, following that, started going. I'm going with the only one of the more previous Sonic game I played. They had more stuff, sadly, to the other stuff that take away. I gave it Silent Hill 2, the second Silent Hill game. It is came out originally for the PS2, so they came out with another version for the Xbox 360, but the very original Silent Hill 2, base story, the same thing with what happened to his wife, and such. It's heartbreaking, not even like what really happened, and a lot of psychological effect, the family had a demo creepiest thing ever made for a horror game that's sticks in your head. And I gotta go with how any Silent Hill game, yeah, we just put it down because of what you did. I go with, but I gotta go with calling my favorite, the one that's different with even more. And call me a nightmare for me, thinking about the psychological aspect of Silent Hill 2.
Richard, what do you say about Silent Hill?
I like Silent Hill 2, but I really like Silent Hill 1. They're both really good. What do I think is... I'll say yes. I mean, it's really hard. Like, you could have gone either or. But yeah, Silent Hill 2 was a great game. It just to me, like, did I think the first one was better than the second one? It's fine. They're both really good.
But yeah, that makes the list. I would have said no. I didn't like the first one to the point where I wasn't even going to bother with the second one. But with that, you go back to Richard.
You know, I gotta go with my childhood. When I first got the PS1, this was the first game I got, and it was so much fun. They made a bunch of them. I think he's a very underrated mascot. It's Crash Bandicoot. Going with the very first one. The first one was just such a fun game. It's entertaining. He was such an adorable mascot character. I mean, he's not as popular as Mario and Sonic, but I think Crash Bandicoot definitely deserves to be on this list. The first one. The first game was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was the one I was referring to when I brought up Sly Cooper, when Sly Cooper was brought up. But this is going to be one of the rare times I'm going to say, I really do not like the Crash Bandicoot games. But this is one I'm also don't mind saying yes to, because I remember back when I was a kid, I did used to play Crash Bandicoot a lot and enjoyed it. It's only when I started playing it as I grew up, it's like, this is really a boring game now that I think about it. Maybe I will give the new game, which is the reason I threw this on the list in the first place, a go. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot is making this list. Chris, what would you have said?
I would have said no. I think it's not my favorite of the series. Where I gone with the new one of the second one, actually.
Again, granted, I'm also comparing when I haven't played the Crash Bandicoot game since I was a kid, so I just remember the first one the most. So it was the first one I played.
Yeah. I thought they would game there like two better franchise would put on here more than the Crash Bandicoot.
Well, you already have enough on here. Okay.
But with that, we've got 3 spots left. I'm going to see how this is going to go. I love I love trivia. I mean, it may come as a shock. I compete in the band leagues and all that to know that I love trivia. I do quizzes on my Facebook every now and then. I should do it more regularly, but I don't. Sometimes I don't, or I don't have when I have time to actually do something. But anyway, I'm going to bring up specifically Buzzfeed TV, which came out for PS4. And actually, I'll double check to make sure. But like the Buzz games, like in general, are always really fun. Just for the fact, like especially when it comes to the host and all that. it's just entertaining, and every now and with the different buzzers you can do and all that. But yeah. So Buzz Quiz TV is on the table. Chris, what do you say?
I sadly have to say no because I haven't even heard of this. Like that's saying something.
Of course. Richard, what do you say about Buzz Quiz TV?
Oh, I've honestly also never heard of it. The only trivia game I've ever played on the PlayStation was The Weakest Link on the PS1. That was such a fun game, but I don't know if that was a PlayStation exclusive or not. I don't think it was, but I haven't played Buzz Quiz. That seems like that one app on your phone where you can pull it when do quizzes.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there probably is an app for it now. I wouldn't be surprised. But just to recap for Surgery, what have we got on the list at the moment? We've got the 2018 God of War game. We've got Final Fantasy VII. We've got Kingdom Hearts. We've got Marvel Spider-Man. We've got The Last of Us. We've got Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, Silent Hill 2, and Crash Bandicoot. That is what we've got so far. Chris, what are you going to bring up next?
I'm finding between two of my favorite type of game going on, and I'm going to go with probably the better sequel between the two. I'm going with Jack 2, where it's from the Jack and Dexter series. Jack 2 is like, the first two were fun enough, but it's okay. Jack 2 take it to a whole different level of dog, with the humor, really good villain. Some really good tricks. The trick at the end with the little kid is really good. It had a lot more to aspect to it. And you get to get Jack's beat when you go get the end with the first one. And it kind of made him a dark character, dark to really dark places. And I think from a sequel that was expected a lot, really took me by surprise. And I love to say to death, I wish like I would bring this back because there's so much you could do with this anymore. So I'm going with that too from Jack and Dexter 2.
So Jack and Dexter 2, was it?
It's called Jack 2 on the title itself, but it's technically Jack and Dexter 2.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you're breaking up. I was just making sure that's what you said because initially I thought you said Tekken 2. So I'm just making sure I heard the correct one.
Yeah.
Richard, what do you say about Jack 2?
Wait, you say Jack?
Jack and Dexter 2.
Oh, the Jack and Dax series?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I've never played the game. However, I'm saying yes because it is my sister's favorite game, and I know a lot of people love that game particularly, so I will say yes. Even though I personally have never played it.
Yeah, I would have just gave it a straight no. Like those early PlayStation series, I never connected to. This is a big which people are always surprised whenever I say that because I do like a lot of random games, and they go, "Oh, but I'm pretty sure it's a game that you would enjoy." It's like I never liked it, but so I would have said no, but it's make the list regardless. And we go to Richard for his next nomination.
All right, this nomination is going to be a little weird because I've only played this game a couple of times. There's a game that I really like that's considered the worst out of this whole series, but we're kind of picking our list of what we like, but we have to think of we have to include other people's likes, what other people love for the PlayStation exclusive originals. So my next nomination is Twisted Metal Black 2. It's basically a death version of Mario Kart, but like the characters are fantastic. Sweet Tooth is probably one of the coolest characters racing. I mean, you guys may not be huge in racing games, but a lot of people are. And the storytelling in Twisted Metal 2 is just like, especially when you win with that character, like you get to the background, the storyline of these characters. It's just fantastic. And I think when you guys decide on your nomination, you got to think of what the other people think, because this is arguably the best Twisted Metal game out of the Twisted Metal franchise. So Twisted Metal 2.
This is gonna be quick for me. I've just never heard of this game, let alone played it. Chris, what do you say about Twisted Metal 2?
Yeah, I met Malcolm here. I never played. I've seen reviews of it on YouTube, but I just never got around to playing it because I'm not a kid. I'm going to the game my parents didn't let me to play back then.
And sorry, Drew, to answer your question, Assassin's Creed is not a PlayStation exclusive game.
Sadly, because there would have been a lot on my list that was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah. But for my next pick, I'm going to try for another one in this franchise. But I'm going to go for Final Fantasy X. This, in my opinion, is one of the better Final Fantasy games that I've played. I love Titus as a character. I love Unit. I love the story that they tell in this. This is just one of those ones that is fun to play. I love the animation and all that. I know that this is one of those Final Fantasy games which is either you love it or you hate it. I know there's a lot of people that certain moments in this game people cringe at, most notably the but Chris, what do you say about Final Fantasy X?
We had not put up 7 of it yet, but we have already like 2 technically Final Fantasy game on here already. I don't have to say no, because I love 10. I don't love them a little bit more, and we don't need a few more that not just for the same franchise on this list.
That's fine. Richard, what do you say about Final Fantasy X?
Okay, sir, I don't care. Final Fantasy X is my second favorite Final Fantasy game. It's a yes for me. Blitzball's fantastic, and I was appalled that they did 10-2. Like, they fucking ruined... Sorry, excuse my language, but 10-2 is an abomination to what 10 is.
Down to the last one.
We are indeed.
I mean, I also enjoyed 10-2s, but...
I should just say no now. Okay.
No, I mean, it's one of those ones like...
they ruined Blitzball in 10-2.
I mean, I agree on that. Like, there was elements on 10-2 I don't like. It's one of those ones like I hadn't played. Like when they did the HD remaster of 10 and did it with the same package as 10-2. I played them both sort of back to back, and it gave me a better appreciation for 10-2 because when they initially did 10-2, I didn't play them. I've never played them back to back until sort of at that moment. So. But with that being said, I think we're on Chris, and there is only one spot left.
Okay, we're down between 3 choices right now. One for the same franchise, one we had not bought yet, but I have a feeling similar to Psychic and Captain might get now, and then one out of the box choice. I'm gonna go with the one that the franchise we had not bought up yet. This is probably the one that they stay consistent. The new one coming out from the PS5, I can't wait for it. I love this franchise as a kid. I think it's so funny, the movie's good in it, but the franchise is so funny, so like classic. And I'm going with my favorite. I'm going with Ratchet & Clank, A Clank in Time, which is from the future series of the Ratchet & Clank series. The last one, technically, of the Ratchet & Clank. The moment Ratchet & Clank separated, Clank find out about his past, that his grandfather's car, Ratchet meet up with his dad's friend to find out about where he came from. And then Ron switches into this series, it's pretty funny plot, and him trying to rewind time to have a villain win the deadly hero, and to have lost like 50 hero some emotional gut punch. And a couple of very clever characters. If we don't go back to say, they have to give it probably my favorite out of the series.
So Ratchet & Clank A Crack in Time, is it?
Yeah. The PS3 one.
Richard, what do you say about Ratchet & Clank? Ratchet & Clank A Crack in Time.
Gosh. I'm gonna say no. Because every time when I was a kid, I thought Ratchet & Clank was Jak and Daxter. They were just too freaking similar. Like it was just the thing with the those two characters. Like I always get confused, but I just like Jak and Daxter more than Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, I'm the same. when it comes to characters that were around since the early days of PlayStation, I really do not like them. I watched the movie. I thought the movie itself was funnier than the game, and that's not saying much because the movie was still terrible, and the games were worse. But that being said, I would have said it's a hell no. And
Yeah.
Richard, if we go back to you,
What kind of comment did it blow out Polly on Facebook?
See, this one's tough. I'm just gonna go with, I'm going with probably one of my favorite. We were talking about Uncharted, but before the new Tomb Raider came out, where it became PlayStation and Xbox, the first Tomb Raider was PlayStation exclusive, and Tomb Raider was just a fantastic game. I mean, the graphics weren't as sharp obviously as the PS4 because it's PS1 graphics, but the gameplay was still a lot of fun back then. The story was a lot of fun back then. I just think Tomb Raider should definitely make this list because it started it all. That's my nomination.
yeah. So the original Tomb Raider from '96.
It was PS1 exclusive.
I mean, technically, it was also on the Sega Saturn, but
no, it was not. They made a deal that it couldn't be. It might have gotten one later on, but when it first came out, it was PS1 exclusive.
Well, this is one that came up in my searches, but for exclusives, I wasn't judging you for that. Yeah. But with that being said, this is when I'm actually going to pull a Richard for this one. I've never played the early Tomb Raider games, but I've heard they're good, so I'm going to say yes. Chris, what would you have said about the original Tomb Raider?
I like the original Tomb Raider. If you didn't include OJ, I definitely prefer the newer one.
If I would have absolutely, if the newer one was PlayStation exclusive, I would have said yeah. I would have. That would have been the one.
And I also would have said the remake software actually much better than the original.
I disagree. Just because better graphics does not mean it's a better game. There was a lot of bugs in the remake.
And I have to say no. I even like Tomb Raider. I actually prefer Tomb Raider 2 better than 1.
I mean, yeah, it's. But I mean, it's already made the list.
Yeah.
But now we get to the fun part where we're going to vote. I really didn't have a lot of honorable mentions left. Honestly, like the only two games I'd left on was another one I was considering throwing on as a cheat. One again is Guitar Hero, because just like the Singstar games, every game that followed that was more of an expansion to the game as opposed to.
Wasn't Guitar Hero? I didn't think it was. I thought it was on all systems. I thought it was on Xbox as well.
I will double check. I think there's another one that's started off as a exclusive.
Oh, I meant it wrong. I just remember. I thought Guitar Hero was on both multiple consoles.
But I know. I think Rock Band might have done both actually.
I get them all confused anyway.
Yeah, but with that being said, the other one I had was Heavy Rain.
Wait, Heavy Rain? I would have definitely nominated. I thought that was also on another console. I thought that was on Xbox as well.
I will double check, but I'm pretty sure that was the PlayStations and PC.
Damn, I would have 100% nominated Heavy Rain. I love that game. I just thought it was also available on Xbox.
I mean that it might be now. But from what I saw on Wikipedia, it was PlayStation.
Can I take out Tomb Raider for Heavy Rain?
If you want.
I would rather. I'm sure Chris doesn't mind, but I would. I love Tomb Raider. But...
I also had to bring up. I forgot we did not mention it, but maybe we'll take your phone. The only software thing that were on the PS4, Fallen the Fallen or the Jedi Fallen or that's even made exclusive.
I never played it, so.
So are you officially?
If you want, I would be okay with replacing Tomb Raider with Heavy Rain, 100%.
And Jedi Fallen Order was Xbox as well as PlayStation. So yeah, that wouldn't have not that wouldn't so yeah. So
I would 100% change for Tomb Raider. Even though I love Tomb Raider, Heavy Rain was a game on its own.
yes,
Jason. No, Sean, that's such an annoying moment in the game.
but I'm just putting a note here to remind me more than anything.
Like while we're waiting, like my only other like nomination would have been Spyro 2. But like
I brought that yet today.
But again, I wasn't huge on the Spyro games, but that game was fun.
Yeah. But with that
I have sorry, I didn't have audible mention.
But with that, we now do have officially have our list. We've got God of War 2018. We've got Final Fantasy VII. We've got Kingdom Hearts. We've got Spider-Man. We've got Last of Us. We've got Metal Gear Solid Naked. We've got Uncharted 2. We've got Silent Hill 2. We've got Crash Bandicoot. We've got Jack 2. We've got Final Fantasy X. And we've got Heavy Rain. Now we get to the fun part.
Malcolm, can I mention my honorable mention?
Oh, yes.
So I have few. Everybody did mention Uncharted 2, I've got Uncharted 4, I mentioned also that's the only series that were on PS2. It got remade recently to the first Mafia game. It's really good. And Why Did They Dawn? Probably one of my favorite PlayStation exclusives. That year. I loved it.
Never heard of it.
Can't wait for the sequel next year.
But yeah, now we get to the fun part. We get to vote. So I've already got mine written down on my board.
I'm looking at it. I already know what's gonna be on here. Might as well just go along with everyone, even though I disagree. Okay, I got mine.
But for 12, I've got Jack 2. Chris.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot, was it?
Yeah.
Richard.
Crash Bandicoot. I figured everyone was gonna say Crash Bandicoot. It might as well be Claire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I do have this love for The Last of Us 2 because like everybody did me up as like that worst case scenario would have gone out.
I haven't played The Last of Us Part 2. I've heard mixed reviews on that one.
Yeah, and as I said, in my film, I've never played 2 either. But
Yeah,
Richard, what do you have?
I got Jack 2.
Yep, Jack 2.
Yeah, mine would have been probably Jack 2 because there's so many good ones on this list. It's just like
Alright, gotta look at this list. Okay. Okay, I got my list. I'm ready.
oh, and I forgot about Ghost of Tsushima. Shit, I forgot about that game.
But I've got Silent Hill 2. Chris, what do you have for?
I have Heavy Rain. That's because that whole him swinging Sean in the wall is annoying to death. This is his thing.
But Richard.
I have Uncharted 2.
With that, we have got to a tie. On if Stardrew is still in the chat, we've got Silent Hill 2, Heavy Rain, or Uncharted 2. Which one do you want to be 10?
If he's not there, I can always change my vote if you want.
If you want to change, I can also set, do the classic thing of setting up the wheel. So.
Oh, he says Silent Hill 2. Star Drew says Silent Hill 2.
Oh, that's tough. Okay, this is mine.
But that, we're going on to 9. As much as I think it should be higher, I don't actually have a problem with this being this low.
I also do have to say, like, another cat would kill us. I would have brought up Ghost of Tsushima if I had remembered it earlier.
But Chris, what do you have for 9?
Heavy Rain.
Richard?
I have Uncharted 2.
We've got another 3-way tie. I've put Final Fantasy X.
I dedicate my vote to Final Fantasy X.
Of course you are.
It became what annoyed me more, Titus laugh or him screaming his name in the mom moment. And like,
You're really getting hung up on that laugh because that story of Final Fantasy X was absolutely amazing. Uncharted 2 was just eh.
Yeah.
It was a good game, but it wasn't like spectacular.
No, I love Final Fantasy X. As I say, the moment annoyed me, like that like little moment that added credit that bothered me. Like,
Oh well,
Yeah, I mean-
it's a shame. Sarger would have agreed with you. He said he would have said Heavy Rain. By the way, so thank you for changing your vote.
But with that being said, Richard, what do you have?
I'm still going with Uncharted 2.
Yeah, I'm going with Uncharted 2 for this one. Yeah,
Okay,
I
but
mean,
now it's getting tough, and I'm looking at the rest of the games, and I think it's time.
I haven't cleared it in my head, but it's very interesting.
But just to recap what is left, we've got God of War 2018, we've got Final Fantasy 7, we've got Kingdom Hearts, got Marvel Spider-Man, we've got The Last of Us, we've got Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, and Heavy Rain is still there too.
Still wish, by the way, they make a second Heavy Rain game. Oh.
I mean, honestly, I don't know where they would go if they did a second one, but I'm glad that that company is continuing.
Yeah.
Because they were the same ones that did Until Dawn.
Well, it could be like a whole different like killer, a whole different. It doesn't have to be like the Origami Killer. It could be a whole
No,
different thing.
it's the same studio that did Beyond Two Soul and Detroit Becoming Human. That was
Yeah, that's so. I like, and I think they've got a Man from Medan, but anyway, I've distracted myself a lot when I was going to write down on my board.
yeah.
But for 7, I've put Last of Us.
Ooh, Heavy Rain. The Last of Us plays better.
It's time for Heavy Rain. 7's a good spot for Heavy Rain.
Anybody would do anything Heavy Rain favorite better than Last of Us. That is
Okay.
okay.
I think this.
I'm trying to say goodbye to this. I love this series, but you can get that one other Final Fantasy game I have to go with this.
But yeah, Chris, what do you have for 6?
It paid me. I had to say Kingdom Hearts. I think the Atlantic level will bring it down a little bit for being my top 5.
Richard,
I
what?
went Metal Gear Solid 3.
I went Last of Us. So, Stardrew, Last of Us, Metal Gear Solid 3, or Kingdom Hearts? But while I wait, I'll get the wheel up ready just in case.
She said, damn it.
Well, at the moment,
I guess we're gonna find out what kind of gamer Star Drew is.
Oh.
He says Last of Us. Oh. That actually kind of hurts me a little bit.
Yeah, that hurt me a lot.
Okay.
I'm glad he didn't hurt me with Kingdom Hearts, though. So I call that a win.
Okay.
But Richard, what do you have for 5?
I'm continuing with Metal Gear Solid 3. Like I said, I'm just not a first-person shooter guy.
I've never played it, but I'm worried about it getting too high, so I just said Snake Eater. Chris.
It's like Kingdom Hearts. Like, that's in terms of going levels, like, love Kingdom Hearts, the electrical level really does bring it down on, like, especially if you play on the PS4.
Metal Gear Solid is fun. The Atlantis level is fun.
Okay, what's left?
But the control was bad.
Nothing wrong with the controls. But anyway, to answer Richard's question, we've got God of War 2018, Final Fantasy VII, Kingdom Hearts, and Spider-Man. Pretty much the first 4 that we made that got on the list.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
I mean, Metal Gear, like, that's why I like Metal Gear Solid 2, was my exception. But, like, Metal Gear Solid 3 is fine. I'm just,
Yeah.
it just depends, like, we're different gamers.
Yeah. After that, you go back and replay them. It also will affect how you feel. Like, I go back and replay them for a lot.
I mean, also, to be fair, a lot of the games I played on PlayStation, like, weren't, like, necessarily PlayStation exclusive games. So this was, like, alright, but I got my choice.
Okay, I came back close to find the first one on the list as well, but I like, between all of them, favorite my favorite now.
But this one's going to hurt me. But Chris, what do you have for 4?
Kingdom Hearts, yeah, I love it, but it live on it.
Richard,
it's time for Kingdom Hearts. The other 3 are just better than Kingdom Hearts. It's time.
I put Marvel Spider-Man.
Dude, Kingdom Hearts.
I love the game.
To be fair, Kingdom Hearts is number 4. That's a really good spot, though. I mean, it's top 5. But this one, ooh, this is gonna be tough for me. I mean, then again, okay, I think I got my choice.
I know what I'm going with.
I think I'm about to get hurt in my feelings. Honestly, I think from what I'm hearing from you two, from what I'm getting to feel, but I'm going with my choice. What I think could be it.
But yeah, like this is one that, just like you, Richard, a lot of the games I played on the PlayStation, as I found out, weren't really exclusive. Because this was probably the first time I actually struggled putting a list together. But with that being said, Richard, what do you have for 3?
I'm going with God of War.
I'm going Marvel Spider-Man. Chris?
I'm going with Final Fantasy VII. I think add some other love recent games, like God of War, Spider-Man to my 2 favorite recent.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you played the original, but you have to play the original 7. The story of 7 is just too fantastic. Like, it's the reason why it got a remastered remake.
But with that, Stardrew, Marvel Spider-Man, God of War, or Final Fantasy VII, which one do you think should be free? So,
I think Star Trek hurt my feelings. I have a feeling. Yep, you hear my feelings. Final Fantasy. Oh, that hurt me. That hurt me.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like when you know it's coming. I mean, it may be a different story if it was the remake, but
I'm sorry. I didn't like the remake as much as I liked the original. The fighting style. I mean, we wanted the only reason why everyone wanted a remake was we wanted to just better graphics, but the same story, same controls. That's all we asked.
I mean, I've
mucked that up.
But instead of going for your number 2, we're going to put down a number 1.
It's funny because I have not played either of these games, but
you would get it, you know, mine.
So we're just going for a number 1.
Yeah. But Richard, seeing you're going by name alone, which of these 2 do you most want to play more?
I'm going for the one that got talked up the most, and that's Marvel Spider-Man as number 1.
I'm going God of War 2018. So Chris, what do you have as number one?
Boy, God of War.
That actually didn't go the way I thought. I thought for sure you would have got Marvel Spider-Man, but never mind. As I finish off the last two banners.
If you play God of War, you get the joke when I say boy, but.
But with that, to recap our top 12 PlayStation exclusives. At 12, we've got Crash Bandicoot. At 11, we got Jacket 2, or Jack and Daxter 2, or who cares, whichever one you want to go. At 10, we got Silent Hill. At 9, we got Final Fantasy 10. At 8, we got Uncharted 2. At 7, we got Heavy Rain. At 6, we got Last of Us. At 5, we got Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. At 4, we got Kingdom Hearts. At 3, we got Final Fantasy 7. At 2, we got Marvel Spider-Man. And number 1 is God of War 2018. Why couldn't you just do God of War 4 or whatever? Otherwise, with having confusing titles. But with that being said, I'll have a poll up there shortly after this with what is going to be could be the topic for next week. And I've got some great topics on there, and just for fun because it was a quick episode. I'm just going to say what they'll be before I put them up. So it's going to be Michael Keaton movies, Robert De Niro movies because The War with Grandpa's just come out this last week. Beatles songs because this week it was the anniversary of their first single. Top 12 CSI episodes because it is the 20th anniversary of the series on October the 6th, and top 12 movie scores of the 2010s. So it's going to be an interesting poll.
Good thing I'm taking a break next week because I had no interest in any of those, so that's fine.
The last one bad, but the rest is like that tough list.
But it's going to be a fun poll. I may get a lot of why'd you put that there? Maybe I don't know, but
Malcolm, force an Arrowverse topic for a week. I want to be on an Arrowverse one for once.
I mean, there probably will be one at some stage. It's just what I may do that. That may be early January once all the shows start coming back. But anyway,
except for Flash, because the Flash is January 2022. F my life.
Well, I mean, they're all coming out in January around then, because I know none of them are coming out anytime soon. I know that much.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's the end of the show. Chris, where can people find you online?
On Facebook, you can find me tomorrow on Full Metal Classic, and I got a random match pretty soon. Two random match actually, and it's gonna be fun. And I got a few matches coming up, so stay tuned for Full Metal Champion and a few other places.
Richard, where can people find you online?
Oh, here we go. My go-to. You can find me on Facebook under Richard Swartz, YouTube, Twitter under External Void, Twitch under External Void 1, and stick at home in LA because of quarantine life. Boom.
And you can find me hosting Formula Classic tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then later on at 9 p.m. Eastern, you can find me on 2X Trivia Night. It was a busy night for me because I'm also recording a Formula Random match that's going to drop on Halloween. But that being said, keep listening shit.